This is a story, once again, by Windows Central, based on the Maddie Plays interview with Todd Howard. And this was posted 6 hours ago, and it was written by Alexander Cope. And folks, I'm here to tell you, if you were hoping for a Fallout or Elder Scrolls remaster in the form of Oblivion, apparently that's not happening. Now, we had word based on court documents, Gamsley, that a Fallout remake, a Fallout 3 remake, was being crafted. Right along with that remake, it was expected that, and it was thought to be one of the games that was going to be announced at this monster Xbox show, that there was going to be a remake of Oblivion, which was an Xbox 360 launch title, which of course was the jumping point or for DLC through paid monies in the form of horse armor. Well, based on what Todd Howard has to say, we don't think that's happening, at least anytime soon. And it makes sense. They have to focus their Fallout 5's got to be made. They got to continue work on Elder Scrolls 6. They got to continue working on Starfield. They've already announced that there's going to be a year 2 DLC. So there's only so much time in a human day. Well, this is what it says. Bethesda lead Todd Howard suggests that the rumored Fallout and Elder Scrolls remasters aren't happening right now. And Todd Howard debunks rumors of Bethesda's remastering classic Fallout and Elder Scrolls titles. And this is what it says on the What You Need to Know section. YouTuber Maddie Plays recently interviewed Todd Howard, the director and the executive producer of Bethesda Softworks, the studio behind critically acclaimed franchises such as The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield. During this interview, Todd Howard suggests that Bethesda Softworks is not working on remastering classic Fallout or Elder Scrolls games, as it is currently prioritizing development DLC content for Starfield and working on the Elder Scrolls 6. And it goes and finally says the Fallout franchise is currently enjoying a resurgence thanks to the success of the Fallout TV shows, with tens of thousands of people playing the likes of Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and more. Again, I mean, some people are going to be disappointed. I personally would love to spend another 100+ hours in Oblivion, especially done in a remake where it takes advantage of the Xbox Series X. Are you disappointed, or are you this is just par for the course when you just heard him say, "Hey, listen, we only, we're trying to cater to these 3 franchises, and that's all we're doing right now." Does it make sense?
Yeah, I'm sad, but I also understand. Okay, I I go back and play Oblivion all the time, and I'm sad for, let's say, console gamers that are a little bit more casual that don't just want to like plug in and play. I get you guys. I already play these games in
Mhm.
very stable frame rates. I mod them to heck. Oblivion has a style and feel that I believe is timeless, and I love it. I never feel weird playing Oblivion. I jump in and it's always fun for me even without mods. So I'm kind of immune to the remake thing. Would I love to see it polished up, have Unreal 5 engine like feel to it and look incredible and all that stuff? Absolutely, man. But do I want new experiences and new things and new things and new things and more new things? Yes. Do I want Elder Scrolls 6 instead? Absolutely. But don't look at this and think that, oh, it's never possible. It's definitely possible. It's definitely going to happen from another team, maybe. We know that Xbox is using their teams very wisely. They're using teams for support. They're using teams to make their own games. They're bouncing teams around. They know what they have, and they're in a position to do that more and more. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Fallout 1, 2, 3 remaster remake from people like In Exile. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Oblivion get recreated by someone else, just not by Bethesda. Maybe they're just not the people that are going to do it. But I wouldn't give up yet. I think it's just a matter of time because people love those games and they're so timeless, they're awesome. They're going to be remade in some capacity at some level at some point. So keep hope and keep playing games.
Great points. Fuzzy, let's close out this particular topic. What are your thoughts on the clarification that there is not, at least they don't have the time for? Because it's a great point. They could have someone else do it. There are plenty of studios that they could, again, they're not reinventing the wheel with either of these games. Fallout 3 is Fallout 3. It's available right now. It's got boosts. It's got everything added to it. But I think a remake or a remaster would be great. All the DLC included. The same thing with Oblivion. I would prefer they worked on Oblivion first because Fallout 3, even though it's older, it's really not that old. Now, of course, Oblivion, well, that was an Xbox 360 title that I don't think it was a launch title. I think it launched in the launch window, if I recall correctly. That game is timeless. I do agree with Gamzee, but I think potentially worthy of being first in line for a remake, remaster. What are your thoughts on the confirmation that they are currently, meaning Bethesda, is not working on either of these games?
I would have to take him at his word on that, but I do believe other opportunities will arise possibly within the next year or two. Like I would have to believe there's been conversations just because of the massive success that they've had with the TV series that, you know, maybe when In Exile is finished with Clockwork Revolution, instead of working on a new Wasteland, maybe they do a remaster of Fallout 1 and 2. And I saw some people in the chat saying, you know, even though it's available, they don't have a PC to run it. Having it ported over to console, at least, even if it's just a port, might be worth Bethesda's while as far as doing so. But if a remaster might be more in line as far as like some of the controls and to make sure it plays well on console as well, maybe they look at, you know, In Exile after Clockwork Revolution debuts, and, you know, the instead of their next project being Wasteland, have them go on to something like that. And I think we're even, I wouldn't say everybody's in agreement, but we would also love to see possibly Obsidian get a crack at maybe another offshoot series, very similar to like Fallout New Vegas, whether it's a New Vegas 2 or it's some other location. I think while the iron's hot, they should strike, kind of thing. I mean, I still want Outer Worlds 2 before this, but I Obsidian is that team that it's almost like with Insomniac, where they have, well, actually, I think they're at this point a little bit better than the Insomniac because they have the wherewithal to be able to release a game every year, whether they have a small team working on something like Pentiment or like their primary team working on Avowed, and then a secondary, you know, equally as good team working on Outer Worlds 2, and then another small team, a different smaller team working on Grounded. They've shown that they have the structure to be able to do what needs to be done, kind of thing. So if Todd is open to that and they've cleared their plate, like let's say when Outer Worlds 2 is, you know, let's say more than 60% or 70% done, and they can start scaling back or possibly moving people to another project, maybe that next project is another Fallout. I mean, they have the trifecta. They have Bethesda whole, plus they have In Exile and they have Obsidian. All these teams have touched Fallout at one time or another, or have made games similar to Fallout at one time or another. So it just makes sense to me that would be, once their primary projects are done, maybe they sit at a round table and it's like, hey, Fallout 5 is immediately after Elder Scrolls 6, but in the meantime, let's do this remaster of 1 and 2. In Exile takes the ring on that, and then let Obsidian try something different, like New Vegas 2, or a new Vault, instead of like having it the way it is in Fallout 76, where the focus is on beyond, I guess, Vault 63. Maybe they basically pick another number at a different location and go from there. But they have the talent within Xbox. Is just, I guess it really comes down to how Todd feels, because like before, he was real, protective of the IPs, but I think now he sees that it's probably in the best interest of those IPs to possibly loosen some of those reins. Like he'll still have, creative say, but if there's other teams that he feels comfortable with working on those, I think that's the way to go. But at this minute, I don't think there's the time where the team's readily available just yet, because they have some big projects they got to clear their plate with too. But let's see what he says in 2 years.